Hi everyone, welcome to Brave Talks. I am Adina and I'm gonna be your host for episode 1 of this second series of Brave Talks. But before we embark on this new series, I have an important mission, and that is to extend a heartfelt thank you from XIO to all our incredible followers and obviously to all our incredible guests. Your support has fueled our mission to amplify voices that needed to be heard. Now, let's jump into our first episode, where we'll be peeling back the layers of an often misunderstood journey, which is life with an autism spectrum disorder. A special shout out to our guest today, Dek, who graciously agreed to share his personal experiences navigating life on the spectrum. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and get ready for an enlightening conversation that will most likely challenge perceptions and invite us to see the world through a different lens. This is Brave Talks, let's dive in. Hi Dek. First of all, thank you again for agreeing to do this and joining our mission. I am extremely happy to have you with us, and I am genuinely excited to shed some light on some of the misconceptions around autism. I think autism has been misrepresented in the media, and it's only recently, through the power and the development of social media channels like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, why not, that the voices of people that are living with ASD have become more powerful and louder. We know that every adult with ASD has unique challenges to overcome, but also unique strengths to draw upon. However, there are some common challenges to address. So I suggest we start with relationships. How does this look like for you? How do you interact with your peers? What is the most challenging bit?
There's sometimes like miscommunication because I didn't always I miss social cues and not always the best at like small talk. But if someone shares a similar interest as I, then it's a lot easier. Like special interests, because I have a few special interests, and if someone else likes what I like, then it's a lot easier to communicate with them.
Yeah, I guess you usually take things literally.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I remember you telling me that this was one of the reasons you were probably a good QA engineer when you started out. Can you tell me a bit more about that? Why do you think it was helpful?
it's because I had like clear acceptable criteria where it says, for this task, I need the thing needs to function like this. Like this list of clear instructions, like it needs to be this color, it needs to do this function. So it's like clear, precise instructions, and I went in and I would test it. Like, yep, this one works, this one works, but this one does not work. It works like this. So I can
Yeah.
easily just pass and fail. Like, it doesn't work like it's supposed to, so I can just fail.
So what I'm hearing is that written communication works better for you.
Yeah,
Is that
since
correct?
since I can refer back to it and I can like take my time to process. I'm not the best at like real time processing, so
I
I can
see.
easily just like miss and forget.
You mentioned special interest in your answer. And one of the things that films and pop culture in general evoke is this special interest and how the people on the spectrum are can be very focused on a certain topic. Uh, it can vary from an interest for collecting items to listening or playing music in a certain way or focusing on a narrow topic. How do the special interests play a role in your life? Do you have any special interests you would like to share?
Yeah, I have several like video games. Like there's certain like games I've been following for years. I collect things related to those games. I also do things like play D&D, and that's got a lot of rules and mechanics and maths, which I like. So I can get into that aspect of it. And it's far more controlled social situations in D&D and like games. I can connect with people through video games as well.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to see some of the collectibles you have, and I noticed that sometimes actually, most of the times you have them with you and you keep them on your desk. How does that help?
It provides comfort because like familiarity and I got things that I'm interested in around my desk. I can just look at them and it gives me some joy. And I actually do carry a lot of things around my jacket. Like I've got books in one of my jackets as well,
Yeah, I've also witnessed that. Yeah.
and small trinkets that I like to fiddle with.
So I guess that helps a lot in social gatherings, doesn't it? Because it offers a pretense for starting conversation. Is that your experience?
Yeah, because because if I'm not sure what to do, I can say I got this thing in my pocket. Like I got some playing cards, can do some tricks. So that provides some form of buffer that something I can do.
With your help, I did a bit of research and listened to some of the YouTube influencers that are sharing their experiences about autism. And one of the things I found out was that the sensory issues are a huge thing. And to someone with ASD, certain sensations can be unbearable. I was absolutely gutted to find out that you may even experience pain if someone taps you on the arm, for example, or certain sounds, smells, textures may elicit a similar unpleasant reaction. Do you have these type of sensory preferences or aversions? How do you find your work environment? Is it helpful enough for someone dealing with this, or is it room for improvement?
Yeah, I think my main ones are like light and touch. So what I usually do is I wear my jacket, which provides some like it dulls potentially people brushing against me, so it provides some like padding. And
Yeah.
for my laptop screen, I dim it because I'm not good with lights. But yeah, so I just like do some small things to adjust to make it more comfortable for myself. Like I never wear socks. I only wear sandals because
Yeah.
socks are uncomfortable. But there are some people who do experience far worse symptoms than me myself, like sounds, and they wear headphones. But that hence why it's a spectrum. And some
Yeah.
people have experienced worse and experience different sensation issues. At least my ones are more tolerable or can be managed.
What could people do to prevent causing any painful or any disturbing reactions to you? Is there anything that people should be aware of when interacting with someone with ASD?
Um, like basic empathy probably to like avoid touching them because that's just a good thing to do because like not everyone likes to be touched.
Yeah, so respecting
Um,
personal space, basically.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that's a very nice learning for all of us, regardless whether if we are on the spectrum or not. We've talked about focusing on specific topics, and I guess that feature can also be expanded into focusing on a certain way you'd like things to happen during the day. In other words, routine. I understood that routines are very important, and maintaining a consistent routine or keeping items organized can help you feel that your life is secure and predictable. What disrupts your flow on an ordinary work day?
well, routines do provide like comfort and predictability, which like decreases stress. But if I get a meeting that and we meeting like from one day, for later that day, like and it interrupts my lunchtime, then that's uncomfortable. I have to like readjust a few things in order so that I can actually more comfortably do it. But I need time to prepare. I'm not good with like spontaneous things.
So, at one point, you shared with me a very interesting theory that is very much connected to routines and how we manage our energy, and it's the spoon theory. Could you help us dive a bit more into this theory and tell us how it is helpful for someone who is neurodivergent?
There are people who explain it a lot better than I do, but essentially, everyone has a certain amount of spoons per day. Like, you're a typical able-bodied person may have like 30 spoons, and a disabled person or neurodivergent may only have like 10 spoons. And like activities use a certain amount of spoons, and like a non-disabled person would like use what like one or two spoons or maybe even zero, but a disabled person would use like three or four, and that takes a lot more effort to get back. Like that's why routines are good because it reduces the cost of the spoons.
Thank you for guiding us through this explanation. I mean, the spoon theory is such an amazing metaphor to explain the concept of energy conservation and the daily challenges faced by people with chronic illnesses or disabilities, particularly those disabilities that may not be visible to others. I can only hope that people who are listening will find the value in this simplified breakdown of energy management. I mean, you start your day by counting your spoons, you decide on what you're gonna spend them, because every task or activity, whether we see it as physical, emotional, or mental, requires the expenditure of one or more spoons. And then of course you may run out of spoons and you have to decide whether you stop or you just go on with your day and perhaps borrow from the spoons from the next day. However, at the end of the day, the most important lesson is that of prioritizing, and hopefully, people who are listening will feel encouraged to better consider how they spend their spoons and learn to prioritize those activities that are most important or necessary. So, once again, such an amazing learning. We've talked about energy management in the case of people with ASD, but we know that on top of this challenge, some individuals with ASD may also be hypersensitive or hyposensitive to certain tastes, textures, smells, which means it can become challenging for them to tolerate foods or food combinations. How does your lunch break look like, Deck? Do you also struggle with that? Do you have to avoid certain foods or textures altogether?
I basically have the same lunch and dinner basically every day. Yeah, yes, because that's what I eat. This is like it also ties to the routine, so it's like the same thing I have every day because it's what I like, it's what I expect. Just a lot easier to just have the same thing over and over again because I know what to expect.
Yeah, yeah. So if you need to have something different or something is happening, such as food at a party, um, I guess that consumes more of your energy.
Yeah, because like I like to know what the menu is, and if the menu doesn't have anything that I will eat, then I try and reach out like say, can I? Is do they will they make this thing that I will eat? So it's like I like to be prepared, and it does make it more awkward if I have to go out for like a lunch with other people. Like, does the restaurant have food that I will eat?
Yeah.
Luckily, that most restaurants have at least one item that I will eat, but so it can be difficult.
This is this is such an eye-opening conversation for me, because when I think about the events I've attended or the events I've organized, usually the focus is on dietary requests for people that are vegan or vegetarian or have certain allergies. So, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, the entire conversation has been extremely eye-opening, but I still have a few questions left. And one of them is, what made you speak about this topic? Because usually people that are comfortable sharing their experiences have a very strong reason behind their decision to do so. So, what triggered you?
Mainly because I'm in the process of trying to get officially diagnosed. It's a long wait, 3 years or so. But there's like the representation isn't as good. Like the ones on TV aren't as good. But there's like many autistic YouTubers who actually are far better than on TV, and like some films have actually misrepresent us. So it's just good to actually get some good representation out.
I'm sure there are other people who are maybe struggling to figure out if they are or not autistic, who are maybe on the same diagnosis journey as you. Can you share a few words of encouragement to them, or something from your experience that you have found helpful and might also support them in their journeys?
Well, if you're heavily researching whether you are autistic or not, that's probably a sign that you are, because you could be high masking, and if you go really deep in the rabbit hole of researching, then you probably are.
Thank you so much, Dick, and looking forward to working with you further on raising awareness on this topic. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Join us in the future for new Brave Talks. Bye.